so we are continuing on with 8.1, kind of what we talked about in class. I am going to be doing page 605, so you should turn there. I'm going to do B, and then I'm going to probably put up the answer for C, and you should try it on your own. Even B right now, you can probably pause the video and try it on your own, and then see what I do and see if you get it correct. So we got B, it is x minus 2y over 3 plus x over 12 minus 4, z over 4. Alright, since I see these are addition and subtraction signs, I know they've got to have common denominators before I can go ahead and do it. So I know if I look at these three numbers, the least common denominator is going to be 12, so I'm making everything become 12. Now, on this one, I'm going to be careful because I have to multiply the bottom by 4, but when I go to multiply the top by 4, this is in parentheses, so I've got to make sure I distribute this. So I get a 4x minus 8y at top, plus, I didn't multiply, this is times by 1, so I'm timesing that by 1, so really it just stayed the same. I didn't change this denominator, so I don't change the numerator. Times by 3, I get 3z. Hopefully you're able to follow that. So now that I have common denominators, I'm going to combine like terms. The only thing that is a like thing is this x and this x. So I am going to do 4x plus x is 5x. It's gone and gone. This is a negative 8y. This is a minus 3z, so don't forget that minus 3z, and that is all over 12. Now, if I was going to reduce this right here would have to have something common with 1, 2, 3. So 4 things would have to have a number in common. There is no number that 5, 8, 3, and 12 share in common, so that is simplest form. If you want to go ahead and try C, for C, you should finally get an answer of 7x over 18. You should try that on your own. Take a couple minutes, and I can also go over that. If you have questions in class, I can answer that after you try that on your own. Alright? So the next set of problems, we are going to be moving to page 608. And in 608, at the top, number 3, they are only asking you to find the least common denominator. They're not asking you to solve this out. They're just asking you to find what the bottoms would both turn into. So I don't really care about the top for these problems. They just want me to find what the denominator would be. So they're giving you this number and this number. Notice they don't tell you if it's plus or minus between these guys. They're just asking you to find the least common denominator. So just so you know, the least common denominator, if I was doing this, I would leave it as x plus 4x minus 4. Because I would need this to have an x minus 4. I need this to have an x plus 4. So I would times this by an x minus 4. I would times this thing by x plus 4. And of course, I would do it to the top also. Just so you know, if we were solving this actual problem out. We are not, because there's nothing to do. This would be a minus 4. So on my bottom, I would end up with x plus 4, x minus 4 is what my denominator would turn to. That's what this least common denominator is referring to. This would be right here. So that's all you're trying to find for number 3. You're not actually trying to do any adding or subtracting. You're not finishing the problem up. Just find the denominator. Now, in the book puts it like this. Hopefully you realize the way that the book gets to here is they actually multiply this out. If it was me, I would leave it like this because this form helps us out for if we had to graph this later on or anything like that. It helps us find asymptotes. It helps us find restrictions. So to me, I would want rather you leave this. So if it's not a multiple choice test, you can leave this as the least common denominator. If it's a multiple choice test, you need to know that this can turn into this. So problem B says negative 2 over 3x minus 2 and 4x over 3x squared plus 7x minus 6. And here we go with the biggest thing I told you about is you have to be able to factor. So we're going to factor this guy right here. So let's take him over here. 3x squared plus 7x minus 6. And when I do that, I know that this is not a 1, so I multiply this times this. This doesn't have a square root, so I can skip all that. A is not 1, so I multiply and I get 18. Two numbers that multiply to 18, but different signs, subtract to a 7, which would be 9 and 2. I put the subtraction first because it makes it easier. My bigger number is positive, so this can be positive 9, negative 2. 3x squared, I told you to put the negative 1 first, so I put the negative 2x plus 9x, just makes my problem easier, I think. Parenthesis, 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 parenthesis. These guys have an x in common, x, and I'm left with 3x minus 2. These guys have a 3 in common, I'm left with 3x minus 2. These guys have a 3x minus 2 in common, and a x plus 3. So this becomes 3x minus 2 and 4x over 3x minus 2 x plus 3. So what's going to be the least common denominator? Is going to be this right here, because this has this part in it. What is it missing? This. So I'd actually have to come over here if I was solving this problem. I'd have to multiply by x plus 3 on the top and the bottom. But what would my denominator become? My denominator would become 3x minus 2 and x plus 3. That's, if I solve this problem out, that's what I would have on the bottom. It would be a 3x minus 2 and an x plus 3. In the book, again, remember the answer that they give me is, the answer gives me is, oh wait, for some reason I left it in that form. Okay, that's good. Alright, now the other thing I forgot in this problem is that up here, let's go back to A, it asks me for the restrictions. And for the restrictions, you're going to look at this and you're going to say, what can the denominator not be? X cannot equal 4 or negative 4. And the book writes that as cannot equal plus or minus 4. For this one down here, one of them is easy to see right here. The restriction is x cannot equal negative 3. That's easy to see. This one not so much. So again, set it equal to 0. Plus 2, 3x equals 2, divided by 3, divided by 3, x equals 2/3. If I put that in, that would make the denominator 0, which is no good. So 2/3 is also part of the restrictions. So for this one, if you were going to try part C, it has 3 different variables. That's okay. All I really care about, hopefully guys you're starting to see, is all I care about is the denominator. I don't really care about the top, so I'm not going to write the top. Because all I want is my denominators to have the same thing. So first thing I have to do is, this has to be factored. It is factored. This has to be factored. It is factored. This has to be factored. It is not, so I need to factor it. So my denominator becomes x minus 4, x plus 4. Now, I need all 3 of these to have the same. This is just an x. I can't just put an x minus, I can't just put a minus 4 behind it. The factor is x, the factor is x minus 4, and then these have a common. So if I look, this x is not found anywhere else, so I need an x. X minus 4 from right here. But when I go to this guy, I've already got the x minus 4, so I don't need to write it twice. The only thing this one needs is an x plus 4. So that's my least common denominator right there. And my restrictions would be x cannot equal 0, because that would make the denominator 0, 4, because that would make the denominator 0, or a negative 4. D. Again, all I care about really is the denominators with this style of problem. Well, problem here is they're not factored, so the first thing I gotta do is factor them, okay? Double bubble right away on both of them because my A is 1. This is actually going to turn into a perfect square, it looks like. Talk about how I know that in a second. This has a square root, this does not, so double bubble right away. X and x, same signs, both negative, negative and negative. Two numbers that multiply 6 but add to 5, 3 and 2. Done. Now this one right here has a perfect square, which is 3. This has, or x. This is a perfect square, which is 3. This times this is 3x times 2 is 6x. So it is x. This is the sign minus 3 squared. This was an example of a perfect square. Now when I go to find my least common denominator, my least common denominator is going to be everything from this guy. X minus 3, x minus 2. But the problem is, this one has 2 of these. So I not only need, I need a second one, so it's actually going to be 3x, or x minus 3 squared is going to be my least common denominator. Remember, this has, technically this one has x minus 3 twice. So I need that twice of my least common denominator. So my denominator is actually going to look like this. X minus 3, x minus 3, x minus 2. It needs both of those. It needs both of these guys. So that's going to be my least common denominator. So this guy I would have to multiply. If what's missing is it's missing an x minus 3. And this guy would need to be multiplied by the x minus 2. Again, that's just prepping us for these next type problems. Here we go. So now we're actually going to solve some of these. We're going to do some more work with them. So let's turn over to 610. This is where the majority of it is going to come into. So 610, I'll go a little bit slower on these types of problems. We're going to do A says 5x minus 6 over x squared minus 9 minus 4 over x minus 3. So the first thing I need to do is I need to factor the bottom so I can figure out what my least common denominator is going to be. This is not factored, this is factored. So my first step, factor 3. This is a difference of squares. Hopefully you see that quickly. So x plus 3, x minus 3. I haven't done anything to the top or bottom, so everything else stays the same. All I did was just factor. Now, what do I need to do in order for these guys to be the same denominator? Well, these guys have the x minus 3 in common. That's awesome. That's really good for me. But this guy has an x plus 3, and this guy over here doesn't. So I need to multiply everything over here by that x plus 3, what it's missing. And then I multiply the top by x plus 3 to keep it fair. Notice I did nothing to this guy right here. So it stays 5x minus 6 over x plus 3, x minus 3. Now minus, distribute this guy to get my top. So that's going to be 4x plus 12. And then on the bottom, I should get the same thing that I have over here. X plus 3, x minus 3. That whole step, x minus 3. The whole reason for that step that we just did was to make this the same as this. So now I'm going to combine my terms. This is a subtraction sign. This is in parentheses. So I have to distribute. So this actually becomes, if I was doing this problem, I would rewrite this as a negative 4x and a negative 12 is what I would rewrite this top to, and then I'd change this to a plus sign. So this would actually become a negative, and this would become a negative. I distributed this negative sign and made it a plus. That way when I go 5x and a negative 4x becomes a 1x. So that's really 5x minus 4x. They just cancel to 1. A negative 6x and a negative 12, or negative 6 and a negative 12 become a negative 18. And then over x plus 3, x minus 3, and it asks me to state the restrictions. So finally, the last step is to go, what is x not allowed to be? What would make the bottom 0? Would be a plus or a minus 3. A negative 3, a plus, a negative 3 here, a plus 3 here. Hopefully this is starting to click. Should be starting to click by now. B, in fact, right now, what you might want to do is pause the video, try B, try C and try D all on your own, and then come back and check the answers that I give you. That would be a good way of figuring out if you're keeping up with what I have, what we've done. So x minus 7. When these get a little bit longer, don't freak out. Just remember, the first thing you got to do is factor the bottom. Make the denominators the same, combine like terms. Doesn't matter if there's 2, 3, 4, 5, doesn't matter. They all have to have a common denominator, which means they all have to have the same pieces in the bottom. So whatever's missing, that's what you need to multiply by. You're going to practice this in class tomorrow, and I'll be there. So if you don't understand something, you should try it on your own. Come up and ask me some questions. Now, the first thing you should ask yourself is, the problem is, this is not factored, this is not factored. So that's my first step. So I go, okay, x minus 7 over not a perfect square. Same signs, both are going to be negative. So negative and negative, x and x, two numbers that multiply to 2 but add to 3, 2 and 1. So that's mine. Plus 4 over, this guy has double bubbles, not a perfect square. Same signs, both negative. X minus 5, x minus 2. Two numbers that multiply to 10 but subtract to add to 7, 5 and 2. Now if I look right here, what do these guys have in common? They have an x minus 2 in common, so I don't need that. But this guy has an x minus 5, and this guy doesn't. So I need this guy, I need this guy over here to get an x minus 5. And I have to multiply the top by x minus 5. The problem over here is this guy has an x minus 1, this guy doesn't. So I need to multiply this by x minus 1. So on my bottom, there's going to be three things. There is going to be an x minus 2, starting from right here. There is going to be an x minus 1, and then this scribble scrabble right here is a x minus 5. All three of those things are going to be in my denominator. That is my least common denominator. Now, to get to my top, and I'm going to have that twice. That's the whole purpose of this. X minus 2, x minus 1, x plus, minus 5. So this guy right here is right here. This guy is right here. And I'm going to distribute this top, because I've got to multiply this times this, which is, let's say, this is where this problem right here used to be a whole problem in math. Now it's becoming something we need to be able to almost do in our head, because I got to be able to put it down here. So x times x is an x squared. X times that is a negative 7x. This times this is a negative 5x. And this times this is a positive 35. So what do I get down here? It's an x squared minus 12x plus 35. And then when I get over here, I distribute the 4, and it just becomes 4x minus 4. Now, since I have the common denominators, I can just combine the tops together with the top over here, but you've got to make sure that the right things combine together. The x squared has nothing to combine with over here, so I just have x squared. This 12x, and this is a plus sign, so that's huge. 12x plus 4x is going to, a negative 12x plus 4x is going to be a negative 8x. And a plus 35 plus a negative 4 is going to be a plus 31. And then on the bottom, we have the same thing. Notice my denominator. Once I get it to what I wanted, it kind of stays the same. I don't touch it anymore. And then my last thing is my restrictions. What is x not allowed to be? 2. What is x not allowed to be? 1. What is x not allowed to be? 5. So that would be problem B. Make sure you take your time. I know there's a lot of work going on here. Just use paper, write extra steps, take your time. Don't make silly mistakes, because this is definitely an example where you make a silly mistake and the whole problem gets to be screwed up. Alright, C. 2x minus 5 over x minus 4 over 5x minus 4. Now they're trying to trick you because they're trying to go, okay, this is a fraction, this is a fraction, this is not a fraction, but all I have to do is throw it over 1 and I've made it a fraction. In order for them to have a greatest common factor, okay, what does this have? It has an x. What does this have? It has a 5x. So what does this mean that this has? This is basically 5 times x. So my least common denominator is going to be 5x. 5x. And even here, I'm going to need this to become 5x. So what did I have to multiply to get this to become a 5x? I need to multiply it by a 5. So I've times this by 5. What did I multiply this by? Nothing. Nothing is going to change here. This is going to stay the same. What did I have to times this by? 5x. So what do I have times the top by? 5x. So when I do that, again, I distribute, and I end up with 10x minus 25 minus 4 minus this times this becomes a 20x. Now my final step is just to combine all the tops. I'm going to put it, now that I have, my denominators are all the same, I can put them over 1. That's the whole purpose of this. And so when I do that, this can combine with any other x's. Not x, yes x. So I end up with 10x. The sign in front of this is a negative 20. So this is a 10x minus 20x is a negative 10x. Done with that, I'm done with that. Negative 25 minus 4 more is going to be a negative 29. None of these have anything that all three of them have in common, so that is my final answer. With the final thing, being the restriction, which what is x not allowed to equal? What would make the denominator 0 is if x is 0, because 0 times 5 would be 0, which is not allowed to happen. So that would be my final. Actually, it needs to be part of the answer. So, that's my final answer. Alright, last one we're going to do together. I'm going to put one up on the board that I would like to go over with you tomorrow in class. Should be our first thing that we do. And actually go ahead and try D on your own. Try D and try this one on your own. You can do these two. I'll even give you the answers, because it doesn't matter really about, the answer. It matters about how you get there. So the final answer for D is negative 8x cubed minus 24x squared plus 15x plus 21 over 2x plus 3 squared with a restriction of x cannot equal negative 3/2. Try that on your own. That's the answer. So try that on your own. We'll go over that in class tomorrow before we get things started. I got another one we're going to try, and then you should be ready to roll. All right. Hope you had a first day. Great first day for a new semester. Remember, new beginnings. Pick it up. We can run with it, guys. Fix a lot of things and get ready for this EOC. All right. Have a good night.